Beyond the Gates time. Let's get into it. So we open with Bill stumbling into the country club because he's still woozy on his feet. He sees Dani at the table. She's staring off into space. He surmises that she is thinking about Naomi, and he goes over to talk and console her. I'm like, they're at it again. Then Hayley is complaining to Randy at Atrium about how basically Bill is hard to kill, and Dani is on her about her perception of her not being the most doting, caring wife as she should be. And Randy said maybe you should step up your game a little bit in that regard. And Leah is being transferred to a medium security prison today. And Smitty wants to interview her because he is interested in this Lynette Wise angle after speaking to Hayley. So Naomi and Jacob run into each other at Orphe Jean's, and Naomi wants Andre to basically talk to Dani about the BRCA gene double mastectomy situation because Naomi states that Dani is basically ghosting her, and Andre's trying to be, Captain Save you know what. Oh, just give her some grace. She's trying to process all of this and blah, blah, blah. And Naomi's like, are you just saying these things to me because you truly feel them, or are you just telling me what I want to hear? So Dani continues to have a parental pity party, that's her words, not mine, with Bill. And Bill is being very understanding, unlike Dani, over Naomi's decision about what she wants to do with her body. Dani cannot believe that Anita does not side with her and that she isn't telling Naomi what to do. And Bill is just still trying to talk sense into Dani when Vernon comes over and he asks to have a conversation with Bill as Dani is on her way out to go talk to Anita again. Hayley is plucked that Dani still has ties to Bill. She is complaining to Randy about it, but he's just like, look, keep your eyes on the prize. Lock in, twin. We need to get rid of Bill so we can get this $10 million. Keep Dani out of it and keep Bill in your bed. So after some conversation at the precinct, Jacob does agree to call the warden to allow Smitty to interview Leah because Smitty thinks it'll be a great article, but he's also very intrigued after what Hayley did in trying to push him into the direction of thinking Leah was the one who got rid of Lynette. So Naomi and Andre wrap up their conversation at Orphe Jean's, and basically Naomi feels like Dani is not doing enough for her BRCA gene, while Dani thinks Naomi is doing too much. But Andre's like, look, you guys both love each other, and your mother is stubborn, but I'm sure she's doing what she needs to do in her situation. And Naomi just agrees with that. And then he leaves, and then June comes over, and Naomi talks about how she is a liar. Then we see Dani bum rushing the estate to talk to Anita. No hugs, no salutations, just did you talk to Naomi? So Anita tells Dani that she told Naomi that if she were her age and it happened to her at that time, she would also have done the preemptive measures that Naomi is considering. And Dani was like, mother! Dani, get over it. This is not your body. This is not your decision. Please stop. So Vernon and Bill are catching up, and surprisingly, Vernon is playing the role of Bill's daddy. He's just basically like 2 times in the hospital at your age is not just a warning sign, it is a blaring siren because Bill is still being stubborn and maintaining that he is fine when we know he's not. So Dani and Anita get it over with, and Anita's like, Naomi saw what I went through, so I'm partly to blame, Dani and Anita are just alike. And then Laura is back to break this up. Hey, Laura, we have not seen you for months, since Winterfest. She's there to help Anita catch up on things that she missed while she was going through her treatments. I know Bill wants to cry. Vernon is really supporting him. He's giving him advice. He's like, if you need anyone to talk to, I'm here. Bill wants Vernon to be his daddy so bad. Oh my, so Mona runs into Randy at Atrium and they're talking about things and he's like, oh, do you miss me at church basically? And she's like, don't flatter yourself. I'm not thinking about you like that. She is more so worried about his salvation. She is questioning if that evil boss of yours has put you up to something that has you second guessing things. And Randy just looks conflicted and Mona's trying to encourage him that he can be a better person in this and that. And she just touches his hand and then she leaves. So Hayley comes back to the the table. She's like, why are you still dealing with that thirsty hoe? And Randy was like, don't you ever talk about Miss Mona, whatever her last name is, like that again. That's right, Randy. Defend your maybe girlfriend. Okay, so Anita wants Laura to help her set up the cancer arm of the Dupree Foundation, and she wants to help with Mona's cancer charity that she's doing with her church. So love to see it. So Andre updates Dani on his conversation with Naomi and encourages her to just be supportive to her youngest daughter, which she said she would be. Oh, wait, she's not the youngest. Never mind. But then there's this mystery box at the door, and Dani's like, oh, you shouldn't have, Andre. And he's like, I didn't. So the present is a bottle of champagne with a lovely card in it congratulating, I guess, Dani and Andre on their wedding, but it doesn't say who it's from. And Andre looks a little nervous. Now, the people say he's hiding something, but maybe. Hayley's like, why'd you go off on me like that? Because you were rude, duh. What do you mean? But Randy was like, Mona is good people. She's God-fearing, and she sees something worthy in me. And Hayley's like, don't go down this redemption trail, because if Mona gets too close, you're basically playing with fire, and she's either going to end up like Lynette or something else she said. I forgot. But basically, Hayley is like, stay away from Mona. It is too hot. She's going to get you caught up. So Smitty runs into Naomi and June at Orphe Jeans, and June goes back to work. So he talks to Naomi about his meeting with Leah, and he just wants information or just kind of for them to compare notes regarding what Hayley has been saying to Naomi and Bill about Lynette versus what Leah just told Smitty, because Leah was offended at the thought of being accused of killing Lynette, because she was like, I didn't even know this woman was in town until after the fact. And then when Smitty tells Naomi what else was said, Naomi was like, that's definitely different from what Hayley has been telling us. The walls are closing in, Hayley. Bill and Vernon are wrapping up when we are introduced to a new character named Ariana Woods. Apparently, she's going to be running for office or something like that, and they do their little pleasantries. And then Bill just thanks Vernon sincerely for listening to him and just taking the time to even care. So it was very sweet. I love to see Bill interact with Vernon, because you can see that he really, really, really does care about Vernon. And I think vice versa. Bill is clearly being impacted by this poisoning as he is stumbling through the country club, once again trying to get out of the dining room. And Jacob sees him this time, and he's like, are you okay? Anita surprises Laura with a beautiful diamond necklace because she credits her for scheduling the MRI that saved her life and helped her find the cancer before it spread way too much. So it was so cute. I love this show for this. These scenes are always, I just love it. So Naomi and Smitty continue to compare notes and the discrepancies between Hayley and Lynette and this mugging and everything. And Naomi was like, basically, Hayley is a two-faced bitch talking out the side of her mouth. And Smitty's like, well, that's not illegal, but this story is not adding up. And June was ear hustling per usual, and she talks about how the person who was allegedly the one who mugged Lynette was a friend of hers, and he never had a mean bone in his body, and she never believed that story, and that it was sus. So Smitty and Naomi are about to expose this broad, and I cannot wait. Jacob keeps asking Bill if he's sure he's okay. He's like, I can get the EMT here quick. And Bill lashes out. He's like, I'm fine. Everything's not a medical emergency. And you need to be worried about your wife since she finally feels confident in confiding in you again. Why, Bill? And then we close with Dani and Andre talking about this bottle of champagne. And he is so uneasy. And she's like, are you going to let me drink this all by myself? So he forces himself to take a little sip. And he's just, you can tell something is wrong. But then she gets a phone call and she goes upstairs. She is not picking up what Andre is putting down. But I bet this is the beginning of the end for this marriage. This is how they're going to free her up to go be with Bill. Between Bill keeling over and possibly dying and Andre hiding something, this marriage is in danger. Until tomorrow. Like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.